You're about to watch a recent lesson that I gave to John where we made some incredible changes to goal swing and he walked out a completely different golfer. Now John was struggling with strike. He was hitting the ball really quite heavy, compromising his distance and compromising his direction. And what you're going to see in this video is how we diagnosed that, how we got to the root cause of the issue and how we actually put the right things in place to make him a much better golfer, and he left absolutely flushing his irons.
Yeah. You can see your head. Yeah. That's actually my key that brings the shutter down. But you can see it's right on the almost your left ear. And then as you sort of make your backswing move, you drift off that a little bit, which is not the end of the world. But then on the way down, it does start to shift sort of back up and away. And you can see how your head's going up and sort of back away from the target.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to get.
Yeah. Which is fine. We can definitely do some work on that. And then as soon as you've got your head moving back away from the target, the contact point with the ground can often move back in the same direction. Yeah. So that will be something I want to try and target. And then when we look at it from this angle here, the club here is a little bit on the steep side.
Right.
Now, when we say steep, we mean the club shaft gets a little bit too close to vertical.
Yeah.
Now, what we have to sort of do is, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, when we look at a golf swing, we can't pull out right arm and just look at the right arm, or club and just look at the club, or head and look at it. Everything's connected. Yeah. And one of the things that tends to happen, if I get my golf club into a position which is too steep, the feelings that I will have inside is that golf club wants to crash down into the mat. Yeah. And I probably don't want that to happen. So invariably what happens is we get some reactions to that. Yeah. And what we've got to do here, when the club shaft gets a little bit steep, we need some reactions which will take the steepness out. Yeah. There are multiple different things you could do. So some golfers will push the hands out. Yeah. That has the effect. Some golfers would move their lead shoulder up and back, which is the one that you fall into. So what sort of happens is we sort of look at, when we're making golf swings, we almost look at fixing the immediate problem. So what happens is, I'm making this far worse, club gets a bit too steep, your brain goes, club's too steep, what can I do to fix it? I'll do this. Yeah. And then your golfing brain sort of says, well, I can't really strike it now. But it doesn't think about that, it's just trying to fix the immediate almost issue. Yeah. So what we've got to try and do is, if we can get the golf club into a slightly better position here, where it's a little bit lower to the ground, that gives us the opportunity then to sort of turn onto the golf ball and get the handle forward and the strike a little better. Yeah. Okay? Which I'm guessing is similar to what you've been doing, isn't it? Trying to sort of turn through. I don't think you're a million miles away, which is good. I don't think we're pulling it apart and starting again. I think we just need to get a few things in place. Just jump onto the mat, and I just want you to take your setup and hold it just in your glove hand to begin with. Okay, and I want you to set up to the black tee peg. I know there's no ball on there, but perfect. So we can sort of start to see how this would pan out in a golf swing with some pretty simple exercises. Right. If I said to you, in a minute, it doesn't have to be a huge amount of speed, but I want you to swing down, just try and clip the black tee peg. Okay. Right. If I said to you, I want you to do that from here.
Yes.
Okay. So no backswing, but just go ahead and just clip. Perfect. Okay. That's going to have a certain feel to it. Okay. Yeah. And you're gonna do certain things to make that happen. If I said to you exactly the same thing, but I put the club here, that's going to feel different, isn't it? You're suddenly going to go, hang on, that doesn't feel quite right, and you've straight away you clattered into the ground. Yeah. So then you would start to add in these movements here. Yeah. So what we need to do is put the club, and I'm making these far worse than they are, more in here. Yes. Because now as you turn your chest, the club comes down to here. We can start to put that sort of golf club onto the ball this way. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we need to do. Take a set up to the tee. We know that the club is going to arrive back at the golf ball. Okay, that's where we're going to be in impact. So if I've got a pretty good backswing, okay, and you have, if we just look at this pretty simply from a sort of down the line view, that club is in the air. Yes. It's got to get to the ground because the ball's on the ground. So it's got to go down to the ground. Yeah. But it's also got to go out that way because the golf ball is out this way. So for me, to get my club head to the ball, it's got to go down to the ground and it's got to go out to the golf ball. Okay. At the moment, what we're sort of saying from the top, you introduce too much of the outward, and then we have the downward
Yeah.
too late.
Yeah.
So our feeling is just trying to change that relationship. So we've got to get you to feel and sense that from the top of the backswing, using your hands and arms, you start to add in some of the downwards. Because what actually gives the golf club its outwards, it's the body turn. The body turn is what gives the club the outwards. At the moment, your hands are giving it the outwards.
Yeah.
Then your body gives it more outwards.
Yeah.
And we end up in this position here. So if you take your setup to the golf ball for me. Okay. And then just when you're ready, just do me a kind of normal backswing and stop. Perfect. Okay. So we're in a good position here. Okay. Now, I'm going to make these far worse.
Yeah.
You will, with your hands and arms, move the club head outwards.
Yeah.
This way. But then as you start to turn your body, that also moves the club outwards. And now you have to go, whoop, tip back this way. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we've got to try and do from here is feel like from here down. So in this part of the arm and this part of the arm,
Yeah.
you use those to put the downwards in the club.
Yeah.
So you feel like the club is going sort of down towards that chair behind you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now, what gives it the outwards? The turn. There we go.
Yeah.
So we've got to give your body the opportunity to turn, because at the moment, as the club gets a little steeper, it always wants to sort of tilt.
Yeah.
You're just going to do me a little backswing and hold it. Good. And I want you to try and keep your left arm here,
Yeah.
okay? But I want you to try and push the club head down towards that golf ball that you can't see properly, but you know it's there. Good. Perfect. Okay, you can do that 3 times. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and after the 3rd time, you're going to do it as you turn. Okay?
Yeah.
And you're actually going to clip the ball. So it's effectively here, and it's going to go 1, 2,
2,
3,
3,
and then push and turn. Okay? And we're just going to chip it 50 yards, 60 yards.
Okay.
Okay, so 1, 2. Now, if you just do that again, I'm just going to show you what that looks like as a movement. Okay, so this is the swing you had at the start as you just came in.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how well you can see your arms because it's a bit dark, but you can see your forearm here,
Yeah.
upper arm there, and left arm there. So that club is right between your arms and through your shoulder. Okay, and then from here, we're always going to get our reaction. Now this is the little rehearsal. You'll see you doing the little rehearsals there, and as you come to hit it, now that's excellent.
Yeah.
That's really good. We had that through the shoulder. It's now almost through the forearm.
Yeah.
Much better. The feel, because when we do this little rehearsal, you know, when I start my downswing, my body is turning towards the target. So when I make my backswing and I don't turn my body, I can put the club down towards the golf bag. And when we look at that golf swing from, let's say, where that camera is, it looks very, very extreme. But it's only because I'm isolating that one movement. What I'm doing here is teaching my hands what they need to do, but I'm only using my hands. So it looks very strange. But when I do this and I add the body turn, it suddenly ends up in a really good place.
Yeah.
So what I think happens in your goal swing is that club head moves, you know, from level with the ball, it moves up and in,
Yeah.
and then I think you try and move the club out to the ball,
Yeah.
and then you start to kicking your turn and then realise that actually I've gone too far now. So we've almost got to get the feeling of club down behind you as you turn. So we're going to do that again, but I want you to just put, you know, a little bit more speed in if you can.
Right.
That's it. You got it. Okay, go for it. Much better. Now we're talking. There we go, longest shot.
Wow.
Okay, now it was on tee, which makes it a little easier,
Yeah.
but straight away we managed to look at the smash, 1.39. Now, it wasn't a tee, but that's the difference. That's what we want. Normal backswing. Club goes down to my golf bags. That's it, as exaggerated as you can, so hold it there. So not so much the hands, so we don't want the hands to go down. It's feeling like it's that feeling.
Right.
There you go. So almost there we go. That's it. Perfect. Good. Do that a couple of times, then go through. Much better. Much better. Good.
Oops.
Okay, that's fine. Right, one more, and then we're going to try and sort of put it together. And sometimes it actually can be easier to do it as a continuous flow motion rather than
Yeah.
stops and starts. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so you set up. So we're going to go ahead and try and do this, without stopping.
Yeah.
So first thing I want you to do is just stand probably just half an inch further from the golf ball. So only a touch. Beautiful. There we go. Good. Okay. And then there's 3 things I want you to think about, which is not easy in a second. Okay. So in backswing, you're going to try and, if you can, more turn. That's perfect. Doing that fantastic well. There's your first one. Second one is trying to get that club head to go down towards my golf bag.
Yeah.
And then the third one is actually just to focus and actually look and try and hit that tee. Okay?
Yeah.
So back to the start. So you're standing in the right distance, so you now got big turn, club to my bag, hit that tee. Oh, that's close. Very close. Good try. For the first one at full speed, that was very good. And that is a golf shot.
Smash factor 1.
1.41. I mean, that's incredible. More distance, but it's not distance because you're swinging it faster, you're just swinging it more efficiently.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just phenomenal.
Brilliant.
Thing is, it's all well and good, telling somebody to, stop this movement and turn, but the club's got to be in a position where it can do that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So as soon as that club gets a little bit steep this way, you're always likely to turn, to tilt. And the issue would be if that club gets a little bit steep and you turn, you can easily kind of hit the smother left.
Yeah,
And so if we can get the club feeling like it goes this way, and the key is the feel because it's not the reality, then if your club is going down towards those golf bags, what are you going to do to stop it going down that way? You're going to turn. So suddenly you're encouraged to turn because it's actually helpful to your goal swing.
Yeah.
I mean, that last one was, that was literally perfect. Literally perfect. Okay, you've got to do it again now. Okay, big turn, club to bag, hit the tee. Again, lovely. Not quite as good, but again, it's still a really good swing. Like a different golfer now. So you turn through better,
Yes.
but you didn't get the club behind you. That's where you get your pull from, because the club's a little steep and then you turned onto it. So at least you turned onto it and committed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was long and struck it phenomenally,
Yeah.
but that was a slightly steeper club shaft,
Yes.
and then you turn in the body. Such a good golf shot. Such a good shot. Okay, let's have a quick look at this. So these are just the shots with your 7 irons,
Right.
and these are just carry distances.
Yes.
So 100, 91, 79, 81, 113. Now, the reason they were not where I would like them to be is simply through strike.
Yeah.
It's not as if you were swinging 20 mile an hour slower,
Yeah.
but the speed was there, but it just wasn't delivered enough. And the analogy I always use is if your strike isn't where you want it to be, the analogy I always have is it's as if you're sitting in a Ferrari on an ice rink, slamming your foot down. It's just, you've got all the speed, but you just can't get it down. So you look at the last couple, 140, 150, 135, 128, 141, 137, and a lot more consistent in there as well. You've got one here, which is the poorer shot. And there's a little bit more clubhead speed, but it's actually just through quality of strike more than it is through anything else.
Right.
And no, we're not in session. And what's really positive is that you've done that, and it hasn't disrupted your dispersion. These are your longer ones, but they're no more offline.
Yes.
There's a couple, but there was a couple down here anyway, so that's really positive.
Great.